The small SUV market is going all over the place. You got your Ford Bronco Sport, your Nissan Kicks, Kia Seltos. Ben today from Regal Chevrolet has given us the 2022 Chevrolet Trailblazer LT front wheel drive in your crimson metallic. New will have your standard satellite radio, available trailer package, active light off-roading for the RS. The styling is going to be going against the 3 if you're in the room or trying to purchase something that's a 5-seater that can fit the family and that could get everything done. It's sporty styling. This may be the one. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rods, and we're going to go over all the specs and details, starting now. The Chevrolet Trailblazer styling, I like the rugged, sporty look, a flat hood, but it's just enough of chrome on the front. They don't go over the top. You're going to get the metal on the lower. Ground clearance at 7.3 inches, which is the same as the Kia Seltos, more than the Nissan Kicks. Obviously, it'll be less than the Bronco Sport. But the sitting of it, it's going to flare out to a width of 71.2 inches, which is a touch more than the Kia Seltos, and the height of 65.7 inches, which again, a touch more than the Kia, but it's going to be less than the Bronco Sport and the Nissan Kicks. So maneuverability, it's going to be more playful, I would say, than those two whenever you're coming to the segment in your daily driving. I like that there's no fake vents all over the place. They just kind of close it in and give it grille design. So it's a little bit more of an element that they're putting into it. LED signature daytime running lamps and your fog lamps. And I like the fact that even down here, they keep that grille segment and just enough air to go into that engine. Going over the fenders, it's going to be more flat, but you're going to get that matte black with 17-inch high gloss black machine aluminum wheels. The disc reading 11.8 inches, the rear at 10.4 inches. McPherson strut front suspension, a Torsen beam rear suspension. The length at 173.7 inches, which is going to be more than all 3 of them. So the wheelbase is going to naturally be pretty decent as well at 103.9 inches, which is going to be less, however, than the Kia and the Ford, but more than the Nissan Kicks. I do like the styling because it keeps that fun spirit, and that's really what you want when you're getting a small compact SUV. You don't want something that's going to be too rugged. You want it to be more outgoing. The personality that you're getting from the line segment, it just really screams. The high gloss, black polish right there by the windscreen just sets a nice tone to it as well, because it almost gives an offset, and then they put it back into the rear. It's kind of almost the same as the Nissan Kicks, which again, it's a fun spirit vehicle. I like that we have the silver roof rails, and then they got the black underneath to kind of polish it off. On the lower trim, you got areas that will protect from rock chips, which is so important because whenever you're taking this on your daily use, you're going to be going over speed bumps. You might go over some light terrain here and there. It's not an off-roader by any standard. However, rock chips are everywhere and you're not going to affect the paint. Also, that gloss black polish goes inside the spoiler lip, which I do like that because that sporty image similar to the Nissan Kicks. The Kia Seltos, I feel this one's going to flare out a little bit more than that one. And if you're looking at it from the Ford Bronco Sport, this one's going to be a little bit more playful, whereas that one's going to be a little bit more rugged. But it's almost like 2 different worlds. In this one, you still have some towing capacity. I mean, you could tow about 1,000 pounds. You got the metal underneath here. You don't need any exhaust notes or anything outside because we're not really looking for that. We're looking for the style and hip image, which we're doing. Blacked out name tags, which I like that. The Chevrolet badging in the center, going inside to your cargo at 25 cubic feet. There's storage with a spare tire underneath the floor and storage on both sides. You could split fold the rear bench at a 60-40 split, maxing the cargo to 54.4 cubic feet. It's going to be less than the Bronco Sport. However, it's going to be more than that Nissan Kicks. The Chevrolet Trailblazer backs the performance with a 1.3-liter EcoTech turbo, producing 155 horsepower and 174 pound-feet of torque. That's paired to a CVT transmission. All-wheel drive would be paired to a 9-speed automatic transmission, achieving 29 to 33 mpg. So 0 to 60 in the mid 9 seconds and a top speed around 130 miles per hour. So comparing it to the three rivals, realistically that 0 to 60 is not going to matter. The gas consumption is about the same, give or take, but really it's about when you're getting up onto the highway speed and when you're just driving around your daily use. Will this one have enough momentum because of that smaller engine, or will it lack in the power? Let me know what you think of the exterior of the 2022 Chevrolet Trailblazer LT as we go into the interior, go over the tech, and take this for our test run. Entering inside the Chevrolet Trailblazer, you're going to be getting 40 inches of headroom, 40.9 inches of legroom, jet black with the ash gray seats. You're going to get 10-way power adjustments for the driver, 6-way manual for the passenger. Something that I dislike. However, you do have the piping. That does look nice. The pattern, I'm not so keen about that ash look. I guess it will wear on me as I do the drive. As I sit inside, it is a pretty comfortable cabin. However, for the head and leg room, it's going to be less than the Bronco, than the Kicks, and the Sultos. Just to throw that out there. However, they utilize the room really well because everything the way it's configured, you still have a substantial amount of room. So that is something that makes it very easy. You're going to have a 7-inch Chevrolet Information 3 diagonal color touchscreen. This has your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, Bluetooth connectivity, AM and FM, no navigation. Do that through your Bluetooth connectivities. The air vent structure, I do like how they've done it. You're going to have the silver and the gloss black. In the center, they took the gloss black away, which I think is going to help so that way it doesn't have like a mirror image on that infotainment screen. So that is a good little design element that they've done. They put the Chevrolet badging right here on the gear lever for the CVT transmission. You do have a sport mode storage that you can put a larger cell phone, 2 USB ports, and a 12-volt right there with your climate control. Cup holders easily fit a 16.9 ounce water bottle. I would say a 20 to 32 is going to be max. Elbows, it's going to be more firm. This is more of a sport derived, not really as luxurious, but the seats do feel plush. Opening up, it's kind of a second tier. Pull the tray and it gets really deep. Put the tray back. And you know what? You have plenty of storage capacity. I like that they put this little net here so that way nothing falls whenever you throw it. You can literally put 16.9 ounce water bottles there and you can put like 4 of them. Steering wheel, it's going to be multi-function. I like that it has the perforated feel to it. And looking at that gauge cluster, it gives you enough information. You're going to have your tachometer and odometer and analog, and you do have a screen in the center that goes through an array of information. The thing that I dislike though is the screen above it. It makes me feel like I'm in a rent-a-car. Overall, I still like the sporty feel, and the flat dash makes it easy to be visible through the windscreen. Door panel, you're going to get that gloss black, and it kind of has an arrow type look with the ash inlays, one touch up and down for the driver window. Storage, you could probably fit 2 to 3 16.9 ounce water bottles, which is not too bad, and you also have a storage tray here that you can fit a larger cell phone. Let's check out the back seats. For the back seat, I'm at 38.4 inches of headroom, 39.4 inches of legroom, which is more than all 3 of them. So legroom in the back is going to have a lot more for your kids or your family. And again, if you're coming into this segment looking for a small compact SUV, this is really what you're looking for, is more space in the rear. And realistically, even if it's 0.1 to even an inch less in headroom, you see plenty of room, and I can move my head all around even with the aerodynamic structure that they have. I wish though there was something that folded down here, like an armrest or even an area to put cups, because there's nothing and you just kind of sit plain. Another interesting thing is behind the passenger seat, it's a little different, the storage, compared to the driver's side. No air vents, no USB ports in the center. The floor is more or less completely flat. Door panel is going to be more firm, and they kind of strip all of the elements from the front and they don't put it into the rear. So I dislike that. That's going to definitely be something that I'll be talking about on my drive. As for storage, one 16.9 ounce water bottle or a longer flask realistically is all they can fit. And I mean, a little bit more plain, and I wish that they brought some of that hipness into the rear. Let's see how I look in the center. Sitting into the center, headroom, no problem. Leg room, I'm pretty much against the back of the front seats, either in the position I'd be sitting or I moved it back just pretty much all the way back. There's really no way around it. I'm going to be sharing a lot of real estate, so not even concerned about the leg space because the floor has plenty of room. However, for shoulder space, it's going to be tight to fit 3 people my dimensions. And as I've been sitting back here, they've even taken out the piping from the back seats, so they've really made it as strip and bare as possible, which is something that takes away from that sport image. However, because it's going to be a family used vehicle, I guess it will fit your daily needs because the kids don't really look at all that detail. Taking the 2022 Chevrolet Trailblazer out, and CVT transmission, which is pretty much coming into all of these smaller segment SUVs and a lot of sedans nowadays, so it's nothing to be concerned about. It's something that you're going to basically be getting used to. However, the sit in the vehicle, you do sit pretty high up, so I do like that. The ground clearance is good too, over 7 inches, so you can go over pretty much any terrain that you need on a daily use. I do like how it feels very sporty in the front. The elements that they put inside the cabin and on the exterior really does make the vehicle stand out to give it more of that speed look. Unfortunately, you don't get that speed in the 0 to 60. However, when you're driving it in the city or your normal roads, you're not going to have any issues. And you can see the vehicle is pretty small, so getting into any tight areas, you're not going to have any issues at all. I got it into sport mode. It shows a little checkered flag, which is pretty cool. Going to give her a little go. Engine's probably going to get pretty noisy, and actually doesn't get too awful bad. And you get up to speed pretty quick. Slamming or hitting the brakes on a little bit more on the firm side, brakes well as so. I mean, it does tick the boxes on that aspect. So if you need to get up to a 40-50 mile per hour speed, it does feel like it gets there pretty quick. You're going to basically maintain with the traffic. Red light, green light, just to show you, giving it some gas. It actually sets you back, which is kind of funny. It doesn't necessarily like to go into a high RPM, which is also kind of a good aspect because it really does keep that gas consumption. And that's exactly what you're looking for. Something that you could drive on a daily basis without any issues. Turn radius, you're going to be getting at a stop point about 2.5 lanes, giving it the gas that we need. And she gets loud like I was saying, but you do get up to speed pretty quick. CVT transmission almost feels like it's changing gears for you, and it seems like I'm gonna hit every single light on this review. So again, checking that brake distance. Now, looking through the front windscreen, you can see pretty much everything. Even though it's smaller, you have all the capacity. The one thing that I have noticed that I've been doing a lot in the drive is I put my elbow here. So it's not necessarily leveled out for somebody tall, but if you're short, you shouldn't have any issues. And because of that ground clearance, you do sit at an elevated height as well. Taking it out of sport mode and just trying to drive it normal, you're going to be hitting more at a 2.5 to 3 RPMs, I will say, all the time. And at that point, you'll hear a little bit of the grinding of the engine, or the engine note, I should say, not grinding, but that's kind of the sound that it projects. As you get up to the speed that you're desired at, it kind of filters out, but then you have the wind noise through the wheel wells. There's no dual pane windows. As for blind spots, you do have a significant amount behind the rear seats. It's not something to be too concerned about because the vehicle isn't so long. If I was comparing this like I've been throughout the whole review, I would say this feels a little bit quicker than the Nissan Kicks. If I'm comparing it to the Ford Bronco Sport, you feel as elevated as that in the seat, surprisingly. And that one, you actually sit up a little bit higher. The ground clearance is like an inch or so more. And if you're comparing it to the Kia Seltos, I feel that this one has just a little bit more sportness inside the cabin. Driving over any impurities in the road, you don't really feel anything, so it is good with that. Comparing it again to the 3 rivals, I will say that, you know, they all have their own little essence to it. This one is good if you're looking to compare for like a family used vehicle in the sense of something that's under 30K as well, because that's pretty much where this car is at. So when you're getting these price points, you're not going to look for full-blown luxury amenities, but you have the capabilities to zip in and out of the city, and you can still get up to speed. Now, there is 3 things that I like and 3 things that I dislike. Is anything more than that, I'd be buying this vehicle. The 3 things that I like, the first thing, the styling. I think they really did a good job making it look very sporty. The second thing, the ride. Super smooth, going over any terrain. You could take this for a long journey or short journey, and you're not gonna have any issues. The third thing, the storage cubbies that they have in the front, you can just throw everything and you don't have to worry about losing anything because of the way everything's placed. 3 things that I dislike about the vehicle, and it really goes back to the Kia Seltos as well. Hard materials in the vehicle, and then they strip out everything into the rear, which is, I mean, I get it, the price point we're at, but still give us some amenities. The second thing, there's not enough charging ports. You don't have any in the rear. Using it as a family vehicle, you're gonna constantly be using the 2 that you have up here. Kids are gonna be going crazy. The third thing, the EV vehicles have more horsepower than this. Why are we making the gas consumption vehicles so less in power, and yet the Bolt EV has more horsepower than this? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. So that's definitely something that I dislike. As you see, going over any terrain, you're not gonna have too many issues. The cameras do bounce quite a bit. However, it is a pretty pleasant ride. The seats are pretty comfortable for the most part. If you're driving this on a long journey, I don't necessarily think you'll get tired. The suspension does hold itself pretty good. A nice thing about the vehicle as well is that it isn't super long. So looking over without blind spot monitoring, you're not gonna have any issues. If there's people in the car, your kids that are having a little bit of a blast in the back, it's not gonna be an issue either, because everything is a little bit closer, but you still have sufficient room. We're gonna take this back to Regal Chevrolet in Lakeland, Florida, go over the reverse camera and wrap this review up. Switching to reverse, you do have trajectory. It's a pretty clean screen, and you can pretty much see everything that you need to do for your reversing. I'd like to thank Ben here at Regal Chevrolet in Lakeland, Florida for giving us this 2022 Chevrolet Trailblazer LT for our car review. If you're already a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Hawkeye community. If not, click that subscribe button, check out the details, the merchandise, and everything we do here at Hawkeye Rides.